9 signals that meant, I trust you. You just didn't know it. Cats are masters of subtlety. They've evolved as solitary hunters, so their trust isn't broadcasted. It's quietly awarded, like a secret badge of honor. And once you have it, it's a game changer. It can shift their behavior, reduce their stress, and even affect your bond with them in ways you won't believe. In this video, we'll reveal 9 bizarre, often misunderstood signs your cat was actually saying, I trust you. And chances are, you missed every single one. 1. They don't clean themselves immediately after you pet them. You give your cat a loving stroke, and the second your hand leaves, they start licking the exact spot. Brutal, right? It's easy to think they're wiping off your touch, like you're some contaminant they tolerate but don't prefer. But when they don't do that, that's a massive deal. Feline grooming isn't just about cleanliness, it's about regulation. Cats often groom to self-soothe, especially after unpredictable interaction. So when they skip that post-touch grooming, it means your presence didn't require emotional cleanup. You didn't destabilize their nervous system. You didn't spark stress. You touched, they stayed. And their body said, no recovery needed. That's trust in its purest form, when you can enter their world and leave no disturbance behind. And just like that, your hands become part of their comfort zone. 2. They expose their flank, but not their belly. The belly-up pose gets all the fame, but the flank is actually where more trust lives. Here's why. The flank is where the skin is thinnest, the ribs most exposed, and the scent glands most vulnerable. So when your cat flops sideways and turns slightly away from you, not making eye contact, not presenting their stomach, it's not a rejection. It's an invitation, an elite one. They're saying, I'll turn my back and trust you won't take advantage of it. It's like letting someone sit behind you on a long bus ride and falling asleep with headphones in. You're giving them the power to harm and choosing to believe they won't. And the best part? This gesture often happens while you're distracted. You won't get fanfare, but you will get proximity. 3. They interrupt your routine, just once, and then stop. A cat who always jumps onto your keyboard mid-Zoom call is annoying, but a cat who does it once, then never repeats it, is doing something far deeper. They're testing. Testing if your attention to them in moments of stress is reactive or stable. And once they confirm you'll stay calm, their nervous system says, cool, I can relax again. Feline behaviorists refer to this as stress surfing, the moment when a cat tries to emotionally sync with your energy and then backs off when reassured. So if they only once pawed your plate or trotted into your video call and then never again, you passed their stability test. They nudged the tower, saw it wouldn't fall, and moved on. They don't need to test the fortress if it already feels solid. 4. They hide from thunder, but not from you. When the sky rumbles or fireworks crack outside, your cat vanishes. But if they don't run under the bed and instead stay curled nearby, congratulations. That's full trust. See, stress is the great revealer. When cats are scared, they default to old wiring. Isolate, hide, defend. But a cat who sits near you during the chaos is making an active choice. Not because they expect you to stop the storm, but because they believe your presence reduces the threat. In feline neuroscience studies, cortisol levels dropped faster in cats who had bonded human contact nearby even when the stressor wasn't removed. That means they weren't waiting for the thunder to stop. They were leaning on you to weather it better. They're not asking you to fix it, just to sit through it with them. 5. They resist affection, but stay in the room. This one's a heartbreaker if you've misread it. You reach down to pet them and they flinch or step away. You assume they're rejecting you. Wrong. They're saying, not now, but I still want you near. Cats aren't dogs. They don't seek contact the same way. So what looks like avoidance is often a very careful kind of inclusion. They're drawing a line around their sensory comfort, but still keeping you in the circle. They don't want the touch, but they want your presence. Behavior researchers found that cats who remained in the same room as their humans, even after refusing touch, showed elevated oxytocin patterns as long as the human didn't push. That's right, staying nearby without overstepping was what triggered the chemical signal of bonding. So don't be fooled. When they retreat, but stay within eyeshot, that's not distance. That's silent devotion. 6. They meow once and walk away. The multi-meow back and forths are fun, sure, but the single soft meow followed by immediate exit, that's not rudeness. That's coded communication. You're supposed to follow. This low-effort vocal cue is called a contact call, a concept drawn from animal behavior research across species. It's not a command. It's a request to maintain closeness, even if from a distance. Your cat is essentially saying, I want you near, but I trust you'll come without me having to perform for it. And if you follow them, and they don't lead you to food, water, or a toy, that's how you know the connection was the only point. They were calling not for help, but for company. 7. They leave a toy facing your bedroom door. It's not just a dead mouse tribute anymore. If your cat consistently drops toys near your door, and you thought it was just clutter or coincidence, you might be missing their version of a nightly offering. But here's the key detail most miss. If the toy is placed facing the door, not just dropped randomly, it's their subtle way of positioning a guardian for you. Ethologists note that cats engage in protective proxy behaviors. They transfer their protective instincts onto objects when they feel attachment they can't fully express. That forward-facing toy is less, "Here's a gift," and more, "This will watch over you while I rest." A little plush sentinel, appointed by a creature who doesn't assign loyalty lightly. 8. They check your breathing while you sleep. This one's almost spooky, because you probably never knew it happened. If you've ever woken up to your cat sitting near your chest or face, staring like a tiny detective at 3 a.m., it's not just about warmth. They're reading you. Cats use ultra-sensitive smell and micro-movements to assess breathing patterns, and they learn yours over time, like a lullaby. And when they hover near you while you sleep, they're not watching for danger. They're verifying that the source of their safety is still stable. Animal behaviorists call this silent surveillance. It's rarely talked about, because most people sleep through it, but it's incredibly intimate, not just because they come close, but because they do it without waking you up. They're monitoring the thing they depend on, your calm, without asking you to change a thing. You don't earn that kind of trust with treats. You earn it with consistency, with tone, with absence of threat. And if they've ever done it, you've been stamped into their emotional blueprint. 9. They blink at you when your back is turned. You know about the slow blink. Yes, the feline, "I love you." But what most people miss, the blinks they don't show you directly. Experts in feline behavior call this unguarded softness. It happens when your cat doesn't even realize you're watching, and their eyes go half-mast in your presence. Not because they're tired, but because they feel safe. The nervous system of a cat on high alert keeps their pupils round and eyes sharp. But when they soften in your proximity, even without direct interaction, it means their body has registered you as non-threatening. In cat language, that's the equivalent of saying, "I'll nap here while you're on watch." It's not a display for you, it's a display despite you. And that's far more powerful. Here's the thing. Trust from a cat doesn't come with fanfare. It's not in the moments you expect. It's in the ones you don't always see. It's in the choice not to leave the room when the vacuum runs. It's in the way they sit near the door when you're late. Not because they need something, but because you're the routine. It's in the absence of fear, more than the presence of affection. Cats don't shout their loyalty. They whisper it in micro behaviors that most people scroll past like background noise. But once you learn to read those signals, really read them, everything changes. Your connection deepens, the confusion fades, and suddenly you realize they've been trusting you this whole time. You just didn't know how to listen. And there you have it. Those are the signs your cat truly trusts you. Curious to learn more? Discover the signs your cat thinks they're human, or find out what you do that is confusing them. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more.